For most of his life, Ron Howard looked like the rare Hollywood survivor who somehow dodged the darkness. Steady voice, kind smile, no scandals, no meltdowns. Just one success after another, from child star to Oscar-winning director. But the story he's finally starting to share is much heavier than anyone imagined, full of pressure he never chose, regrets he can't undo, and a family crisis that shook him far more than any box office failure. It started the day he was born into show business. Ronald William Howard arrived on March 1, 1954, in Duncan, Oklahoma, the son of two working actors, Rance Howard and Gene Spiegel. Before he was old enough to form memories, he was put in front of the camera, appearing in Frontier Woman at just 18 months old. While other toddlers learned to walk around playgrounds, Ron learned to hit his mark under hot lights. In the late 1950s, the Howards moved to California, chasing television work. Their little house was half home, half rehearsal studio. Scripts on the dinner table, line readings instead of bedtime stories. His father juggled military service and auditions. His mother picked up acting jobs where she could. Ron later called it a golden cage. Safe, loving, but still a cage. His childhood looked perfect from the outside. On the inside, he was a kid carrying adult expectations. Everything changed in 1960 when The Andy Griffith Show premiered. At 6 years old, Ron became Opie Taylor, America's son. The country felt like it owned him. While viewers embraced Mayberry, Ron did schoolwork in a tiny room off Stage 40, listening to other kids playing outside the lot while he studied between takes. His dad did everything he could to protect him. Rance fought for scripts that were truthful, not cutesy. He told Ron never to act cute for the camera, only to be honest. That advice shaped every role and, later, every film Ron directed. But it couldn't erase the quiet cost of being famous before you even knew who you were. By the time The Andy Griffith Show ended in 1968, Ron was 14 and emotionally exhausted. He'd spent almost his entire childhood living as someone else. There were cracks the audience never saw. At 8, shooting The Music Man, he panicked over a dance routine and whispered to Shirley Jones, "I can't do it." They ended up shooting him from the knees up to hide it. Viewers saw a charming performance. He remembered fear. Then, in 1974, came Happy Days. At 19, he stepped into Richie Cunningham, another all-American boy next door. Again, the public adored him. Again, he felt trapped. By 23, he was still playing a teenager in a world dealing with Vietnam and massive cultural change. Ron even asked the network to let the show acknowledge the war once. The request was politely rejected. Richie stayed frozen in time. Ron couldn't. That suffocation pushed him toward a different path. Directing wasn't some abstract dream. It was his only way out. In 1977, producer Roger Corman gave him a deal: act in Eat My Dust, and he could direct a film. Ron grabbed it with both hands. The result, Grand Theft Auto, was a low-budget car crash comedy co-written with his father. It cost $62,000 and made roughly $15 million. For the first time, Ron had real control over a story, but control very quickly turned into obsession. From Night Shift and Splash to Cocoon, Willow, and Parenthood, he became the guy studios trusted to deliver. When he directed Apollo 13 in 1995, that trust nearly broke him. He insisted on brutal authenticity. Real NASA equipment, real procedures, hundreds of zero-gravity shots on the infamous Vomit Comet. He worked 18-hour days for months, refusing to cut corners until his body finally collapsed on set from dehydration and sheer exhaustion. They shut down production. The crew wore Mission Control shirts when he came back, a tribute to his leadership. But inside, Ron knew he'd crossed a line. His perfectionism wasn't just driving movies, it was driving him into the ground. And it would cost him far more than sleep. In 1991, while shooting Far and Away in Ireland for 6 months, he left his wife Cheryl at home in Los Angeles, with their newborn twins and young daughter Bryce. When he returned, one baby barely recognized him. The distance in Cheryl's eyes told him everything else. Years later, he admitted that moment still haunts him, that no award could make up for what he missed in those months. He tried to change, tried to be present. But old habits are hard to kill. On later films, the same pattern crept back. Long shoots, long absences, kids growing up while he was on location, a marriage held together by sheer commitment and Cheryl's quiet strength. Through it all, one person understood his double life more than anyone, his younger brother Clint. They'd both been child actors, both raised inside the machine. Clint's later battles with addiction and health forced Ron to confront another terrifying truth, that for all his success, he couldn't fix everything. Not his brother's body, not his own past, not the time he'd traded away. Now in his 70s, with decades of hits behind him, Ron has finally started saying the thing he never dared say out loud, that the work everyone celebrates came with a price he can't ever fully repay.